Take two.
Welcome to the Toy Rewind Podcast with your hosts, the Brothers Newland. Now, let's talk toys.
And hello, everybody. I am Michael.
Specialist Newland reporting for duty.
Oh my gosh, I was going to go with Commander Andrew, but John beat me to the fun one. Yeah, I'm Andrew, and you're listening to the Brothers Newland here. We're talking about G.I. Joe this week. It's a lot of fun. And so we've talked about G.I. Joe before. We talked about the 12-inch line, the original G.I. Joes, and we had the STS guys on with us, but we missed Scott. Oh, he's over here. Sorry. We missed Scott, and I know Scott has a lot of good ideas or a lot of good stuff on the 3 3/4 inch line, which is what we're talking about today. Mm-hmm. So, Scott, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, everybody. I'm excited, actually. Like I said, if I could be on any episode, it's the G.I. Joe where I get to talk about the little 3.5-inch figures, right? Like the 3 3/4. Like, love it. This was my childhood, so I'm excited to be able to talk about all the stupid crap I had with G.I. Joes.
This toy line is ridiculously huge. They came out with everything. Like so many figures, so many characters, and it's ridiculous. I know we're gonna have hours to talk about it.
Yeah, and can I say that like it started off with like a normal setup, but then it got to like by the time it hit like the mid 90s, it was the most ridiculous stuff you could find.
Right.
Like, and that they started to add in. You're like, what? Where is this even going?
And with this line, this is where they bring in the bad guys, because you think about the original 12-inch line, it's just all the good guys. Right. You know, you've got all the military lines, you're doing all that stuff, and then all of a sudden you go to this 3 3/4 inch line, and this is where we get Cobra Commander, and we get all the Cobra Commander, and it's just amazing. You get bad guys to go along with these good guys, and then the good guys went crazy on all their stuff. So, yeah. Well, we've got a lot to talk about. We will get real deep into talking about some G.I. Joe, and we're going to have fun. But before we do that, we got a couple things we got to take care of. So, John, you got those social needs for us?
I do, but you do know that none of my introduction was fake. So,
I know you. I know it was not fake. You just went with the fun way of it.
Right.
I mean, you went directly out of what you had when you were in the
I was a specialist, so that's
what
I got out. All right, so social networks. Check our website out at toyrewindpodcast.com. Email us at toyrewindpodcast@gmail.com. Look us up on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. It's all Toy Rewind Pod. Facebook and YouTube is Toy Rewind Podcast. Of course, check out our toy box showcases when we have them on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Podcast Bingo. Andrew takes care of that for a lot of us, a bunch of podcast people at podcastbingo.com/Toy Rewind. And then check out our collector showcases when we're doing them. I know we have one coming up really soon.
No. We will have already done it by the time everybody listens to this.
Right.
So
sorry, my bad.
Hopefully, I knew you were going to do that.
You should have just
you watched it a couple of days ago.
The
one you guys watched.
Yeah, the one you guys just watched, where we had the Dusty Attic Toy Show guys on talking about that stuff. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you missed it, go check it out on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go.
And I guess we should do the call out so that that collector showcase in part with Geek Together and everything. So we'll talk about that towards the end. All the good stuff. All right, it's time for our fun for all question. This is one that apparently John doesn't know how to do this. So he told me earlier that he doesn't have an answer for this. But our fun for all question this week: if you had a paid year off of work, what would you do with your time? So basically, if you didn't have to work, I don't know if you're making more money, if you're making less money, but if you didn't have to work for a year, what would you do with your time? Michael, you get to start.
I would probably finish up all everything I got started going on here. You know, I got the old truck. I've got some shows that I need to catch up watching. I've got all this. I got some books that I need to read. Catching up on all my die-casts, getting them on the computer here on the website. I got a lot of things going in the fire that I can just finish up real quick.
Just hang around the house for a year.
Just hang around the house and get everything that I got in the fire taken care of.
All right.
Yeah.
So of course, with some of our jobs, and nothing bad or good about this, but some of us worked this whole past year.
Right.
So Michael's and me, I know, have been consistently working, and half the time getting our butts kicked. So he's talking about doing what he would have done if he didn't have to work, I guess.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, I think I would have to find someone to go to work for.
So your answer is to get another job. You don't have to work. I would get a job.
Either that, or I'd be trying to figure out how I can be self-employed. I'd have to do something. I have to figure out what to do. There's no way. I just don't know if I could sit around.
So this is how you plan to spend your retirement working. Okay. John will be the greeter at Walmart. I mean,
it follows suit with the rest of our family. So.
Right.
He'd be the guy that's 95. Welcome to Walmart. Can I help you find something? Like, you're not going to help me find anything. I don't think you can walk.
That's the way I got to be. Yeah.
So I'd kind of do the same thing, John. I wouldn't necessarily be looking for something else to do, but I want to get back into doing my work, my woodwork and stuff, and building furniture, all that kind of stuff. I had to get back into that.
Well, maybe I should just get with you and help you sell your stuff, so that way,
So, but getting back into that, doing that, I do have like a couple things here. Like I've got coffee tables that they're all built. The tops are just not attached. So maybe I can finish that. I'd probably play a lot of video games too, and maybe do some traveling, maybe some camping, stuff like that. So,
can we start this sometime next year after Breath of the Wild 2 comes out?
Yeah, there you go. Now, the interesting thing about this, I know, John, you were mentioning what happened this past year. But I went through about a 2-year stretch where I was working for a company that was getting bought out by another company. And because of that, we could change nothing that we were doing. And being on the web team, we basically just had 2 years where we had to go to work and play video games because we had to be there just in case the sites went down. Or we had to do something else, but we couldn't change anything. We had to keep everything the way it was. They wouldn't let us do anything. Like they were like, "Oh, we can't change it because the other company will get upset." Like they bought it as is, and it took 2 years for the merger to happen. And then as soon as it happened, we were busy again. It was crazy. So yeah, I kind of spent almost the better part of 2 years playing video games, like a lot of Minecraft and stuff at work. So Scott, what are you doing for your year off?
Yeah, okay, so I have like an incredibly large backlog of video games that because I buy them and I don't play them.
Right.
So like there's that, and like I have a bunch of house projects that takes about a month probably of me not working. So I'd have to figure out the other 11 months. So like,
what house projects do you have? You just moved into that house, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. But I got add-ons to build. I got to make planter boxes and sheds and that sort of crap. So there's that, and then like I think I'd just spend the rest of the time like building like. Learning a skill. Like
there you go.
I'm not like probably your level of woodworking, like building furniture, but I want to get to that level. So like it's okay. Let me learn how to be better at woodworking, or like I've always wanted to learn how to weld. If I have nothing else going on, let's get a welder and let's go to it. Yeah,
I need to learn to weld.
Right?
Welding would be fun.
Yeah, exactly. So like I think I'd just spend my time just like make my garage into something fun, and then like just play around in there, and then eventually go back to work.
There you go.
So like you guys, I got to keep myself busy.
You got to stay busy. You can't just.
I ain't going back to work. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't care if somebody pays me. I just need to keep busy and doing things.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, we have one more question for you, Scott. This is something we asked to all the people that we know that have been to the big, amazing place we call Whataburger, and that is, what is your go-to meal at Whataburger?
So it just got ruined. But I will tell you what it was. So, as you know, I'm a bigger guy. So mine is the triple meat meal, right? I go with that number 3, baby. I get that triple meat. But usually I'd get the Dr. Pepper shake with it. Yeah. But they just took those away. So they are not available right now. So now I have to figure out what to replace the Dr. Pepper shake with. I know everyone listening to that's like, that is a heart attack in a meal. It is, and I accept this. But that is my go-to.
I mean, that makes sense. John, did you ever try the Whataburger shake or the Dr. Pepper shake, John?
I don't drink Dr. Pepper.
Well, that's what I didn't know if you, because I don't drink it either. I never tried it. I just didn't know if you ever tried it.
I could not bring myself to even try it.
I mean, as I'm drinking one right now, it doesn't taste like Dr. Pepper. I will tell you that. Kind of like, like a root beer float. Suddenly, like, you're like, oh, this root beer. It doesn't really taste.
It doesn't really taste like root beer. Yeah.
Root beer anymore. Once you put the ice cream in it, like same with the Dr. Pepper. It's almost tastes like a cherry shake. But me and my wife were both devastated when it went away. Like we were actually like visibly angry when we pulled up. We're like, it's not there anymore.
That's
I went through the other day and they had some kind of peach shake.
Yeah, they replaced Dr. Pepper with peach.
Yeah,
who does that?
Well, maybe it'll come back. Maybe it'll come back.
I'm sure it will. It's a seasonal deal, probably, and
it'll
recycle through.
And then I'll go crazy when it comes back.
If Michael was with me and ordered one, I guess he's on this side.
Yeah, he's over there.
I would probably try it, but I'm not going to order it for myself. So,
all right. So yeah, that's just one fun question we like to ask because it's especially if you've had Whataburger, you kind of know what you got to have. So
I have one like 6 minutes from my house. I know Whataburger a lot.
There's one. I'm about a minute and a half from one, so it makes me really happy. I don't get it. I get that like once a week maybe, but
It makes my wife kind of upset because that's my go-to when they're like, what do you want for food? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, all right, we're going to Whataburger. She's like, not again.
So Andrew says he's a minute and a half from one, but the ones here in Tyler, we have some that are completely decorated.
Yeah, they're different than a normal Whataburger.
Yeah, different themes.
Yeah, so we have a hot rod one.
Yeah, we have a hot rod one. The one that's right here by me is like 50s. It's Elvis and
that's the 50s and stuff. Then we have
Buddy Holly, that kind of stuff.
There's a sports one.
There's a sports one.
And is there one more?
I feel like there's.
I know those are three of them. Then we have an old A-frame Whataburger.
Yeah,
the one down 110 going towards White House has like die-cast cars and stuff like that in display. Yeah.
So what you're telling me is I'm going to have to make a journey to go to each of these Whataburgers in Tyler, Texas, because that you already have me intrigued. I'm looking up where it is and how long of a drive it is right now. It's only like 2.5 hours away. All right.
The best part is, so we have an old A-frame one, and that old A-frame one used to be full of the most Texas thing ever. It was full of taxidermy.
Ooh,
and jackrabbits,
and there were jackrabbits, all kinds of stuff that they put in this. And I was like, "This, who wants to go and like look at this dead taxidermy stuff staring at you while you're trying to eat?" That's me.
That doesn't bother me. Bring that delicious burger. Come on.
It's been changed, but I do remember when it was that, and like it's just ridiculous. Like I mean, all the hot rod one was I guess it was the 50s was the first one. And then the hot rod and the sports, and it's
the one on Broadway. The one on Broadway's got race cars because it's got that stock car in the middle of the restaurant. Yeah.
And they changed that one out with different cars. It's like when they do their show or whatever, the car show.
Yeah,
they
I know.
Changed it out with the winner or whoever. So
they had at one time they had the one from David Starr who drove his stock car in the NASCAR series for a while.
Oh yeah,
maybe it was Xfinity series. He drove a car for that series for a little while, and they had his car in there for a while.
Well, Scott, whenever you come to town to go visit all of them, you let us know, and we'll just go to all of them for you. We'll just make sure you hit them
in the line. I'm just coming up for a day trip, and we're just hitting.
I mean,
like
you got breakfast.
Whataburgers you just described.
It's fine because you've got breakfast, you've got second breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like you can hit all the good ones. So.
Again, I'm a fat guy. 2 Whataburgers for breakfast is fine. Like that's at least understandable, right? Yeah. They're like, oh, look at that guy. He's gonna have two breakfasts. Yep.
There you go. All right. So there's our fun for all. A lot of fun questions with that. Obviously, our Whataburger question we went way into more depth than I thought we would. But that's all right. But now it's time to talk about some. I almost said Hot Wheels. Time to talk about some GI Joes. So, Michael, it's your time to shine. Give us some history.
All right. We talked about the 12-inch line, a while back. I think that was episode 29 or 30, I'm thinking.
I'm looking. I'll verify that for you.
I think my notes say 30. I think we actually did a week before, so it was 29, I think. So if you want to listen to the history of that, go back and listen to episode 29.
Yes.
So all right. So real quick to start off, the 1970s they were tough on Hasbro and their GI Joe line with anti-war feelings after the Vietnam War. Hasbro had to move away from the soldier aspect of Joe, thus leading towards the end of the first action figure made. So because of all that, they had to make some changes. Adventure Team came along, all that kind of stuff, but it kind of just faded out. It was no longer GI Joe, So, but in come the 80s, the first part of the 80s saw like a political climate change from the 70s. The patriotic spirit was coming back in full force. That gave Hasbro a spark to revive the line known as the first action figure. So senior VP of Boys Toy Bob Prupus and Kirk, kind of say his names, Kirk Bazinga. I can't remember how you pronounce it.
Bazinga.
Yeah, something like that. And then Ron Rudat, who was a Hasbro designer. They were the men just to do that, just to bring back the line. So those guys got together and got it. So with Kenner's Star Wars, such a success that followed, they wanted to follow that formula. So they shrunk G.I. Joe to 3 3/4, but they had to have something different that Star Wars didn't have. So again, relating back to the original Joe, the 12-inch Joe, where it had so much posability into that, had all the articulation and everything. So what they did was they found Migos Chips figures, the show Chips, Punch and all them. So they took those figures and they mocked them up for a new G.I. Joe figure. They mocked up some Jeeps and tanks to match the smaller size, and then presented it to Steven Hassenfeld, which was Hasbro's chairman and CEO. Unfortunately, Hassenfeld kind of turned it down, stating that the team hadn't given him a reason to bring G.I. Joe back. He wanted kids to get behind the toys and get excited about them. So Hassenfeld gave the team 2 weeks just to do that, to come up with a plan on why they wanted to bring this and put some excitement into it. So,
I would just immediately say the plan would be to sell toys to kids because we're a toy company and we want to make money.
Yeah.
Right. You have to have something better. So this must have been
kids
before,
like action figures.
Yeah. This must have been before companies got greedy and just wanted money.
Yeah. Well, he wanted to be able to come up with a line that would be successful. And he didn't want to come up with a line that said G.I. Joe, but didn't do as well as the previous did. Like his dad was the one that okayed the 12-inch figures. He wanted to make his dad proud on all that. So he didn't want it just to bring it back just because to bring it back. So
I think if you think about a lot of these toy lines that people launch and don't go anywhere, and it's like it's a big hit to some of those companies that they sometimes don't recover from. So it's that risk of like, do we bring back G.I. Joe, this well-known property, looking completely different from what everyone expects G.I. Joe as? It has to be right, or else we're going to fail and it's done, and that property's dead forever.
Yeah. And it's like you said, it's a big financial risk for them too, because if it doesn't work out, they're close to bankrupt. On some of these, they risk a lot just to do that. So back at this, Bob Prupus brought in Joe Bacall and Tom Griffith from Hasbro's advertising agency, Griffin and Bacall. So they needed a way to introduce G.I. Joe characters to the public because they didn't have a movie, they didn't have a TV show, they didn't have any kind of publications like books or comics or anything with this. And then the advertising for toys, was pretty restricted on what they could actually do. So to get around the advertising, they realized there wasn't any restrictions on advertising a book. So Bacall went to Marvel Comics and got them on board with all this. So you can't advertise using animation, but you can advertise a book. So comic book about the story of G.I. Joe is kind of the way they went to advertise the toys.
And that's always weird when you look at the old cartoons back in the day. It's always kids playing with the figures. Like that's all they showed is like, even like, He-Man and stuff. Like, hey, He-Man, they smack the toys. Now kiss.
I assume that's just because you can't show something that doesn't actually happen. So you can't show them being lifelike by themselves.
So the animation part of if you're advertising a toy, the animation part in the commercial is only limited to a certain amount. But
7 seconds is all you had in
the whole commercial.
Yeah.
So the whole commercial on a comic book, the animation part of that is the whole commercial.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
I guess because people
wonderful tie-in comic books, man.
Yeah. So with Ron Rudat being the only person at Hasbro at the time doing character designs, he got to work on the designing G.I. Joe. So pretty much every G.I. Joe that's out there, he's the one. Ron Rudat is the one that pretty much came up with each design. He's the designer of the Cobra signal insignia. So, and just about all the G.I. Joe stuff that came up, he's the one that designed it. Marvel idea was to call the entire unit G.I. Joe. Before, the 12-inch line, G.I. Joe was the one figure, was the guy.
Yeah, you're right.
But their idea, so it was their idea to come up. They said, let's just do the whole unit as G.I. Joe, and which consisted of the best military personnel on the planet. So it was just a conglomerate of all these awesome, military people. So
and as it comes through, like it was that idea was based off of something that Marvel was trying to do with Nick Fury, is to have like a Nick Fury comic based on him collecting all these best soldiers from all these different branches and fighting this terrorist organization. So I think that comic never launched, but they're like, hey, we have this really great idea, that we can maybe play along with for that. Like the Marvel side of thing was kind of cool to see how they use some of their ideas for like unused comics to build the G.I. Joe line at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And Larry Hama was the guy that was selected to do the comic book series. So he's the one that they came up with the storylines and all that kind of stuff for the comimic book.
And I will tell you, he is the reason that the blister packs for G.I. Joes were the coolest ones ever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'll get to that here in just a minute as well. So the original 12 designed were all Joes. So another question that came up was who was going to be the bad guys. So the original plan was for the Joes. What the guys at Hasbro said, well, it's just whoever's in their toy box. They can fight against He-Man. They can fight against Star Wars. They can all this kind of stuff. But the comic book, going back to the comic book, you got to have a bad guy. So the Star Wars wouldn't work with the comic books. So so Marvel talked Hasbro into having a villain on top of and then on top of that, what they said, well, you got any ideas? So there was an editor at Marvel. His name was Archie Goodwin. He says, well, off the top of his head, he just says, how about Cobra? And they all ran with that. So he just came up with this name off the top of his head, or he might have been thinking about it for a little bit, but he said it and they just ran with that name. So Hasbro was looking at the cost, also cost of producing the toys as well. And they were going to be a little bit, they shrunk them down to 3 3/4 because it saved on the plastic, because of all the oil embargo and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of expensive. So that's why they went with a smaller figure to cut back on all that. But they still had to reduce some of the costs. So what they did was they were looking at they didn't want to make the figures look cheap by cutting back on the deco on them, the decorations and stuff like that. So they said, well, we'll do everything like we want it, except for one figure. We'll just do nothing on that one figure. So they cut all the deco off of one figure. And that happened to be Snake Eyes. He was just solid black, with no paint, no anything on him. So, and And it turns out, Snake Eyes is the most popular figure out there, with nothing.
Right.
So it's the one that they wanted to save money on, and that's the most popular one. So
I mean, the whole thing is there's G.I. Joe, which is all the good guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care who you're talking about. There's G.I. Joe, there's Cobra Commander, and there's Snake Eyes. Those are the three that I can immediately name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them, like, I know they've all got names. They're all whatever specialists and, whatever. Yeah, Scott, you're muted.
Yeah, as I say, you could just pick a ridiculous name out of the hat. Probably at some point there's probably a G.I. Joe with that.
Helicopter Blade Part 2.
Yeah.
I mean, it was,
at one point, they were making all these figures, and I don't know if I got it further in my notes, but just off of my head, they were making all these figures, and they ran out of, they kind of were running out of stuff to use. So they started using the designers and stuff. Just hey, I want to make you into an action figure. This is your code name, and they went with that. Everybody at Hasbro pretty much had their own G.I. Joe figure. So
they even made one for Larry Hama too.
Yeah,
that he had one a little bit later on, but I think he was like Sand Rat or something like that. Like I think what it was.
I mean, then when you break out of that, you start breaking into wrestling. I mean, you got Roddy Piper has his own. I mean,
come on, Sergeant Slaughter.
Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
You got the Fridge from the NFL player. The Fridge, he's got his own. So they just went all out on getting all these different figures. So
they went off the deep end here. I mean,
they kind of did, yeah.
Yeah.
So after after about 2 years of planning, they were ready to launch. And in that time, with the Empire Strikes Back came out with the success of that toy line. So what they did was they waited a year. They delayed the launch of G.I. Joe for a year. And during that time, like Scott said with the packaging, during that year that they were delayed, Hama came up with more characters and in all the backgrounds and profiles. And then all what they used all his profiles and stuff on the back of these cards for the toys. So all that extra information that's on the back of the cards, the little file cards and stuff, all that goes back to Hama coming up with all that information.
Because he had a year off of work.
Yeah, basically doing exactly that. They're like, all right, we're gonna wait just a little bit, and he had these like toy things, right? And he's like, maybe I'll write their backstories.
Yeah,
right?
I have a year off. I'm gonna write a backstory for all the toys,
for all the Joes, and then like it started a trend, right? He didn't do them all from that point, but that original set he did, and then they were just like, that was really cool. Let's move it on. Now the weird thing is though, his original one said like what weapons and like vehicles they were like specialists with. They eventually cut that out because they were finding that kids were like, he can't use the M16 because that's not one of his weapons on the card. So they're like, oh, we got to stop telling them like what cars and toys and stuff and give more like generic backstories because these kids are like playing legit with like he can't use that because that's not on his card. He doesn't know how to use those things.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
But those are as much of the toy as the toy itself. The figure itself is the profile card. You cut it out and then you save it with your figure. So
even like as a kid, because I mean when these came out, I was obviously they came out actually before I was born, right? And then but as growing up when I was like 4 or 5, those blister packs with the artwork that they always did on the front, at least on the older series too, right? The artwork that they had on that was the coolest artwork ever. Where you saw like the comic book version of the G.I. Joe on the card, and then you had the Joe, and you're like, I know exactly what this guy like. It helps you with that like association of like, what is this guy supposed to look like? Like that.
Yeah,
so they all had the explosion behind them and stuff too.
Yeah, and they're shooting their guns and like action poses and everything. Like this is what this guy looks like, and when I'm playing, this is what it is.
Yeah, so this one's from '83, and then this is from '93. But I mean, you still have to have fun, and it's just a little different, but it's still fun.
It definitely went downhill. Like the original ones were way cooler, but like it was still awesome to see. Like look at that guy's launching the rocket, shooting a pistol at the same time. Like how can you not find Wild Bill absolutely amazing?
Yeah, you got that rocket launcher in one hand and a
I
pistol in the
don't
other
think they're
hand.
going to be shooting a pistol and shooting a rocket launcher at the same time.
Exactly. John, don't lose your headphones.
Right, like it's these ridiculous like action poses that they're in, but as a kid you're like, that is the coolest thing ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when they finally get launched, they put them out. So the first year, G.I. Joe made $51 million in that first year they were put out, which is just outstanding. And then the second year they did over $100 million worth of. So by the late 80s, by the time they were winding down, getting into the 90s, they had already done $600 million worth of sales, which is a lot. And the comic was doing well to serve as advertising for the toy, but Hasbro wanted more. So what they did was they came up with the cartoon series. G.I. Joe became a household name with that cartoon series. It's the first series that they had. Hasbro used they had the toys, the comic, and the cartoon. So they were all advertising, each other. They were feeding off each other, becoming bigger and bigger. And Hasbro did that later on. It had Transformers afterwards, and all the other lines behind after that all came up with their own cartoon series. So
and I have to say, the show came with the best tagline ever, because everyone knows the knowing is half the battle.
Half the battle.
Right? Like to this day, if I ever hear anybody say like, now I know, I repeat that line.
I mean, you gotta think that is true about everything. I mean, if you don't know, like, knowing's half the battle. If you can get to that point.
But it was, I always loved the cartoon because they shoehorned in that, like, we can't just advertise, so we're going to spend 25 or 24 minutes advertising, and then we're going to tell a little moral story at the end of the last minute.
Yeah, they all had to have that moral
so
lesson at the end of the
this
show.
Is another one of those.
You got G.I. Joe, you've got Motu had it, He-Man. And then we talked about Bionic 6 had it. They all had it. They all had it.
Yeah.
That was I think that was the like consolation, right? That like we'll let you have your cartoon, but you're gonna have to teach the kids something. Right?
That helps you like send it to like parents that are like, well, I don't want my kids to sit here and watch this for 24 minutes and then oh wait, but they get a life lesson at the end. Okay,
yeah, you're good.
Well, and there was like controversy with that cartoon too, because like obviously the toys use guns. Right. And they're like, hey, we don't want people getting shot in like G.I. Joe. So they switch them to like lasers and no one dies or no one gets hurt,
lasers.
Right?
And, it goes back to the Stormtrooper thing where they miss all the time. Lasers, and when your airplane gets shot down, you always see the guy parachuting out, the guy, nobody gets killed. It's always somebody they always get away and with unharmed. It
makes it for an interesting war when the good guy and bad guys numbers never decrease.
No,
right? like it's this war of attrition that they're going for.
Right.
Yeah. So, by the end of this line, there was over 250 figures or so. They were competing against Star Wars and stuff, and we know Star Wars ended up with just 92 figures total by the end of the run of theirs, the 80s. So 250 figures, like going back, they were just making up people left and right. The designers, even Larry Hama had a figure. They were just coming up with people. You had football players, you had wrestlers. They were just throwing people in there that wanted to be part of this, and they said, "Yeah, we'll make a toy." So there was over 250 different figures. The vehicles were just as much part of the line as the figures were. You had your jets, you had the tanks, you had snowmobiles, you had water vehicles. And all this is, the original 12-inch line. You had the figure G.I. Joe, and what they actually made all their money on was the accessories, the outfits, the tents, the guns, the vehicles and stuff that went along with that figure. So they did the same thing with this. They had all the vehicles and stuff that went along to go with these.
Not every vehicle came with a character or like a figure included. Right.
Yeah.
Some of them did, but like
some of them did.
I remember like buying the flat gun, I think from the original like line, which was just like an anti-air gun, and you're like, cool, and it has pictures of the guy, and there was no figure inside. So you're like, well, crap, I have to go get a figure now to go with this gun.
Right.
And some of those, you know, the some of these figures you can only get them through with the vehicles. They didn't come separate, so you had to get the vehicle to get the figure. So
I think what is it? Is it General or Commander Hawk or whatever it was from the GIs? Like the leader of the GI Joes, you could only get by buying the big missile command thing.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah. So you know you had 3 pretty good size vehicles on this. And another thing before I get to this, the good thing about the Joes with that 3 3/4 inch, they can make more vehicles that were smaller. That because if they were still the 12-inch figures, some of these things would have been pretty big to accommodate the 12-inch figure. So that's why they shrunk them down as well. You know, same thing with Star Wars. They shrunk them down. They were able to make all these different things for ships and stuff for them. So they can even do even more with the smaller size. So you had I forgot to write down what WHALE stands for, but you had WHALE, which was I had it up and I lost it on my notes here. But it was a vehicle, an attack vehicle. You had in 1986, you had the Defiant space shuttle.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty good size. But in 1985, the USS Flag aircraft carrier came out, and we kind of talked about this. And I know you got a story, Scott, on this. It was 7 foot 6 inches long.
Let's talk about that length real quick, because I want to put that in so where somebody could actually think about how long this thing actually is. 7 foot 6 inches. Shaq is 7 foot 1 inches. So this is 5 inches longer than, like, if he stood up next to it. It's 5 inches taller than Shaq is.
Yeah. The thing was absolutely massive.
I don't even know how somebody would carry one of these things, like to play with it.
Well, and like you know, obviously even the box was huge, but like it came in parts, right? So you had to put it together. But still, that thing was like this. Like I think of like the biggest, most comparable toy I can think about it to this point is still like the Barbie Dream House. Like if you ever go walk down the Barbie, you see the Dream House. It's in this massive box just because it's this huge toy thing. And to your point, it's the little, you know, those big tall figures that it has to accommodate. So you have this huge, like, you know, 4 foot tall thing. But this thing just came. It took forever. I remember because I had one, and I was really young at the time, but I can still remember my dad just cursing G.I. Joe's name while trying to get this thing set up.
Your average mattress right now is 80 inches long. All right.
Okay.
This thing is 10 inches longer than that. Yeah. That's something that everybody has a bed. I'm sorry.
You got a mattress.
So everybody knows how big their bed
Roughly how long a mattress is. Yeah.
It's longer than your mattress that you sleep on.
Man.
You know how much this thing sold for?
I think it was like just over $100.
It's
I think at the time.
Original price was $109.99.
Yeah.
Which
that was
you
the
think about that
original price.
Okay, wait, I gotta look at.
Let me
get
look your calculator out, Andrew. Tell me what would it cost today?
I did $85 today. $253. Sorry, I'm doing the math while we're talking about it. Usually it just does the math for me. We're looking at $278
today.
$278.
That's not that bad.
So let's put a thing on this though. Back in the day, I think Nintendo's came out around $90. So the flag was more expensive than a Nintendo. Like, which you think was like one of the things of like the expensive toy was like the Nintendo was the expensive toy. The flag was more than that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, these things are it's ridiculously huge, and I've seen a lot of them now. They sell for quite a bit now because I've been scouring eBay and trying to see if I can find one because I found a video on how you make it actually float, and I got a pool in the backyard, and I'm like,
oh, maybe.
I mean,
right.
But in a good condition, they're about 2,500. Right now.
And almost all of them I've seen on eBay are missing parts. Mine got several moves. A 7'6" thing did not make several moves. So I still have, I think, like pieces of the runways that are left. That's about all that I've been able to find of the collection.
That's pretty awesome.
But yeah,
so like you had one and you still got a few pieces left. I mean, why not?
Yeah, it was my brother is about 5 years older than me. So he was really like, he was in that prime age for children for the G.I. Joe. He was the target audience for the G.I. Joe toy. Yeah. So like that was everything he wanted was G.I. Joe. And then as I, came into this world and started growing up, like G.I. Joes became my thing. And we would have the flag in the middle of the basement. That was like the battle over the flag and who got to have control of it. So we had these epic, because we had a lot of the little things. I remember the Dragonfly helicopter and like a bunch of the Jeeps and everything. So we'd each collect bases and toys, and we'd have these big, huge battles. Just like in the cartoon, like or in the commercials, really, we're like, oh, like bang, 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 you're dead. Ah, like it was the funnest thing ever is when you have that big, huge base to like set up with it. You had this like definitive thing, and it was the size of it made it that much more impressive when you were,
and the size.
5-year-old kid, and that thing is 3 times your size, and it's for your toys. Like it's amazing.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned earlier, before we started recording, you mentioned the actual length. Had it actually been built to scale? The USS Nimitz, which is what it's based off of, it would have been 65 feet long.
65 feet long. So it would be like bigger than most, like longer than most people's like houses.
Yeah, right? like that's one of those things. You go out, you buy it for the neighborhood, you put it in the front yard of 3 houses. And everybody just plays on it as they need to.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I'm looking at it here. Just if it was scaled correctly, 65 feet long and 13 feet wide.
Yeah.
Wow.
The thing, but yeah, that was. I will say, like it was very impressive. Around the same time as that one too, they came out with the there's like a forward base. I cannot remember the name of that one here. That they had around the time was like the tactical battle platform or something like that, or like the battle platform that they had was also big, but like nothing compared to the flag. So that was like the 2 bases that we had was like one person had the tactical one, and the other had the flag.
I mean, everything that they came out with this toy line is just freaking amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love all of this. I want all of it.
Yeah, going back to the well, that was a hovercraft. Now I'm remembering. It was a hovercraft. It held 4 or 5 different, 6 different figures in it. So it was a pretty good size piece.
The thing that always
in '83 they came out with the APC vehicle, which held 28 figures.
Yeah, I know they had the APC
a vehicle, but a carrying case for your.
Yeah, it was a carrying case for your G.I. Joes. It was like a toy. Yeah. So the thing that always struck me about this one, though, is that they obviously made the bad guys. But if you look at the first couple of lines of this, there are significantly more good guys than there were the bad guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was like a 5-to-1 ratio. Like for when it came out, like even I think the first vehicles. I don't remember a Cobra one of the first vehicles.
There wasn't anything with Cobra for a while, and even in the commercials, you would see the kids having Cobra steal the Jeeps and all their stuff. So in the commercials,
right?
And then I think they finally came out with Cobra and their missile, the Cobra missile, whatever deal for the Cobra Commander.
Yeah, and that was like a Sears mail-in thing, and it was the only way to get Cobra Commander was through like a Sears mail-in thing. Otherwise, it was just the 2 generic Cobra bad guys.
Yeah, you had
like 2 or 3.
Yeah, so that first, the first series that came out in 1982, you had you had 16 different figures. There was 3 vehicles, 4 missile or gun play sets. You had a Cobra Missile Command headquarters, which came with 3 figures, and then you had the official collector's display case all came out in that first. So, you talk about the ratio between the good guys and bad guys. That first release, I only had a Cobra Soldier, a Cobra Officer, and Cobra Commander, which you said was a mail-in. So that was the only way you can get that, or you can get them through with that Missile Command headquarters. But that was it for Cobra, just those 3 figures and that one set. So you also, and the G.I. Joes, you had Breaker, Flash, Grunt, Rock and Roll, Scarlet, Short Fuse, Snake Eyes, Stalker, and Zap. And then you had your vehicle drivers, which was Clutch, and then Grand Slam, Hawk, and Steeler were those guys.
You gotta love somebody like, we need a guy that drives a truck. What's his name? Clutch. Right.
Clutch. Yeah.
As they went on the side.
Only people that understand how to drive a manual understand that.
Yeah, right.
Hey, how much did these originally sell for? Each individual figure.
They were a couple bucks. I don't remember.
A couple bucks, $1.95 to $1.99 for the figures.
Yeah, they were not. I mean,
they weren't expensive.
Yeah, like then $1.99, where you're like, oh, that's a pretty expensive toy. But now we think like, oh, it's a $2 toy. Like,
well, I mean, yeah. So $1.99, that's $5.60 today.
Yeah.
So
that's
inflation has done pretty good there. Now the thing is, I guess with this first line, the idea is you've got all these good guys. You need an army of Cobras, so you just buy a bunch of the Cobras and the Cobra officers, and then you only need one Cobra commander who's going to command all those.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that was like kind of the idea, right? It was you have each of your individual Joes. They're the good guys. They have their personalities or whatever, and then you just have this kind of blank bad guy. You buy 7 of the, Cobra, officers or whatever. Yeah. All right, there you go. That's your bad guys.
That's it's like Nate saying it's was it army building is what he's doing.
Army building, yeah.
You need those. Yeah. You have your main bad guy, but you need those grunts in the background because they always have henchmen, right? You got to have the henchmen. Yeah. But it wasn't until I think the second line where they actually came out with like named bad guys. I think was the second, like in 83 when they did the series 2.
You got Destro,
Major Blood.
Yeah, Major
Blood. I think he was first one. Yeah. BLUDD Blood, not
Blood.
And I think which ones of these are which.
Yeah, and also
there's
83 ones in there too. Yeah, in 83, saw the second series come out, but it was the introduction of the swivel arm battle grip. So the arms, the first series were what they call straight arms. You can just go up and down. That's it. The second series was they put that swivel arm motion, and you can do all kind of poses and stuff with them. Going back to the articulation like they wanted compared to what Star Wars was. But they got what they did was they re-released the first set with the swivel arms, so you can get the first release with both arms, both types of arms.
Right, but I mean, with the swivel arms, it became so much more gameplay because now you can actually hold your guns.
You can hold them right, like they're not just like
you can have them put in there and actually hold a steering wheel.
Yeah,
and they weren't like
Right, and you had more things like I said, like I had the flat gun, and it literally was made so that the guys like swivel arms would just sit right there, like. But you could have like more like movement in the toys. Now, I did say that there's a complaint I have about the construction of G.I. Joes. So, and I am not proud to say that because of this, it meant the demise of many of my G.I. Joes. I love the arms and the swivel arms and everything, but when they moved on to do the swivel hip, where you could twist the body and legs separately, for a while there, they used just this rubber O-ring, and it was like their legs were hooked to this O-ring to like a hook on their torso. Yep, and then they had like their little cod piece or whatever it is that like held the legs in place. I don't know how many of you guys had them where that O-ring just wore out and broke apart. And you're like, oh, now my toy has like 2 legs, a cod piece, and like this upper torso thing. I broke countless numbers of G.I. Joes solely on that rubber ring. I don't think I've ever had them fail where like arms or head fell off. It was always that rubber O-ring that broke. Right and then like, I don't know how to fix, like, there's no way to fix this. Like, it's done. It's over. My G.I. Joe has died.
That was one thing about, once that rubber piece wore out, I mean, you had pieces left. That was just it. Yeah.
Once they got to where I thought they were going to break, that was when like firecrackers came out. We're like, all right, we're going to play this one for real. Like we're going to real war. Yeah. And be like, put the firecracker in, like stretch it out and put the firecracker between the O-ring.
There you go. There you
and
go.
light it. And then he's like, all right. And then bang, bang, bang. And he just blows apart. You're like, he died. Yeah.
Funerals. You bury them
the parts just went back in the bag for ambiance for future battles.
Oh, there you go.
Like, oh, like we need this. This is a real serious battle. Throw some legs out there.
All right. So these ended up. They had 13 different releases between 1982 and 94. So 94, with G.I. Joe, was canceled. And today, it's regarded as one of the most collectible toy lines out there. What was it? Was it 2004, Andrew, that they were introduced in the Hall of Fame?
Yes. Sorry, I didn't know where you were going with that. Yeah, 2004.
The toy Hall of Fame. They got, like I said, it got inducted in there. So, growing up, that was a big line. We didn't have very many of these. We don't, because we had a bunch of other different toys we had. I know one of my best friends growing up, Scott. I don't know if you guys remember my buddy Scott.
Not Scott.
Not
that Scott.
Not that Scott.
But I think he had almost every figure out there. He had all his Star Wars. He had everything on Star Wars. But G.I. Joe, from what I remember, he had almost every piece out there, the planes, the vehicles, the figures, and he kept them all, the little profile cards with them and everything. And it was so fun going there, and we'd go around. He lived on a circle, and we would go around the circle flying our jets around through there. But yeah, he had all those. We had a couple of them. I don't know if you guys remember what we had. But the three that I remember, and my favorite was always Shipwreck. But I for some reason, I always liked him because he had his parrot. His parrot. So that was my favorite. And then I think, if I remember right, we had Bazooka. Who Shipwreck and Bazooka both came out in 85, and then 87, Golobulus. I don't know how you pronounce it, but we did have him because he was the guy, the Cobra guy that looked like a snake, and so we had that figure. Yeah, we had that figure. So those are the three that I can remember off the top of my head that we had.
I think it was 85 where they started introducing. Some people had like the animals, so you could get the snake eyes that had like the white wolf.
Yeah,
and then the one I can clearly remember was Junkyard, because he had Mutt. Yeah. His dog that came with like the Rottweiler.
Mm-hmm. So I was looking through it. This is from 92, and this is Eel. I love the fact that he comes with a metal shark.
I'll have to see,
because his name's Eel.
Right, Eel. Yeah, right.
You had Desert Scorpion, came with a scorpion. That one makes sense. That one makes sense.
They got to some really weird ones though. If you like further on, I'm trying to think of. They had like the aliens, that there was like the alien G.I. Joe figures back like in the 90s. And one guy, I think it was Hydro, that came with a manta ray, like a stingray.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So and a dude, I had to look it up here because there's another one. There's a guy that had a bobcat named Spearhead, came with a bobcat. Why? I don't know, but he had a bobcat. Like that was his partner in crime, I guess. So yeah, like I like your friend Scott. This Scott had a very large collection. Like I grew up in we lived in a really small town, and the drugstore always had like a large selection of G.I. Joe. So that was like my, and like I said, there were only $2 at the time. So almost every day I would try to scrounge up and beg my parents, and they'd, all right, here's $2, go buy a new G.I. Joe. And I'd go get another one. And like me and my brother would just, every few days would come back with more and more G.I. Joes. So I to this day, like I didn't save them well. Like I really never thought about preserving. So they're just in a big, huge, like 20-gallon Tupperware. out in the garage, and they're all loose. Like there's no like saving. That's how I just stored them when I was at the house. Like throw them in the toy box, right? So like I still have quite a few. Most of them are in pieces because age has gotten to them. You know, sitting in a garage, rubber O-ring. None of them are in good condition. So I'm at a certain point we'll have to go back and start looking to refresh my collection there.
So, well, this is the part of the episode where we always talk about what Larry's going to bring out of his garage and start sending pictures.
Yeah. I'll be like, I need G.I. Joes, and he'll bust out them still on blister pack because he was a child. He didn't play with any of his toys. He bought them, but never played with them. I was the opposite. I played with every toy I had. Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, we talk about some of the most odd ones, and then Larry's like, "Oh, I got those. Hold on," and I'm like, "He's got everything."
I mean, one, if Michael had them, they got passed down to me.
Right. Chuckles.
And we were happy to. Andrew probably didn't get to a lot of them.
I do remember playing with some of these. Okay, so I pulled up a few I want to just talk about. Some of the ridiculousness of these. Okay, so this is Chuckles with his Hawaiian shirt. Because, I mean, obviously in 87, we had to have a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, because I think they're going for the Magnum PI vibe, right? They're like
Magnum PI. Yeah.
Look at that.
Or Hawaii 5.0, I guess, maybe.
Look at that flowing hair. I mean,
because when did this one come out? 87?
87.
So, so mullets were pretty popular back then. So,
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we got to keep him a mullet if he's cool.
So here's Bazooka. Because Michael mentioned it. Look at this bazooka they drew. Like it's just a hand bazooka. Is there even a thing called a hand bazooka? Like you just hold
it's like a hand mortar. Well, no one's commenting on the fact that he's wearing a football jersey.
Yeah, so his football jersey. I was about to bring that up.
He wears that football jersey. Yeah.
So
with a backpack full of mortars.
Right. I like this one. This has got a great pose coming down. Got his gun. I just like that artwork. Here we go with the baseball side of things. This is more of what I would expect from somebody shooting, some kind of grenades or something.
Grenade launcher.
Little 10-millimeter grenade or whatever.
I mean, look, he carries 6 extra grenades on his legs. He's got those. This guy's got a warthog.
The warthog, dude. Yeah.
I mean, why not? That's not even a great shot, but it's a warthog. What weapon is this? What is this thing?
It's basically a weed whacker. It looks like he's out there. He's got his machine gun.
But wait,
and then he's like,
I
got to trim the weeds at the same time. So let's do this.
Yeah, you really have to look at this because his hand is holding the weed whacker. His other hand is holding one of his guns, and then he's got a random one just off the side shooting.
Right. I remember this one because he had those weird 50 cal guns, and you never really knew how exactly to have them hold those because if you look. Where the handle is on those is way up towards the front, and they gave you 2. Yeah. And that's normally that's supposed to be a 2-handed weapon, but they gave you 2 of them for whatever reason, plus his little weed whacker thing.
Well, apparently one of them just floats to the side and shoots.
Yeah,
and this is the last one. I don't know what weapon this is. It looks like it's shooting. I don't know something, but what? It's got a knife on it.
Yeah, it's got a bayonet right there on the top of it.
It's got a bayonet on top of his grenade launcher.
If you get that close to a grenade launcher,
he's probably out of grenades by that time, and it's just a way to hold his knife. Now, there's a couple others. Like if you look up Bio Viper, it looks like he should be in with the what's the insect ones we talked about?
Insectia, the bugs. Insectia.
It looks like he should be part of that.
Yeah. Now, if you go through, there is one though that if you can pull up, you'll have to look for. It's the 1987 version of Cobra Commander that they had. It is the first one where you can actually see, like, it actually has part of his face visible in that one, and he looks like it looked like he came straight out of Gundam. Like it was like he's in like a mecha suit thing.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's coming up here. Here we go. Showing this for anybody watching.
Yeah, the battle armor Cobra Commander, right? Like it's this whole different thing. You're used to like the just the cloth mask, when this dude shows up in like a mech suit.
This is crazy. So all right, so we need to rank these. So John, Michael, you guys know what we're doing here. Scott, if you just tell us where you think, like, now obviously you had a bunch of these, so I assume it's going to be in your top 10 or maybe even top 5 of all your toys you played with.
Yeah, for sure. So I can say this. This is number 2 on my list.
Oh wow.
Number two on my list. Only beat out by the Ninja Turtles was number 1.
Okay.
Oh, but I see you guys with Nintendo on there, so I guess.
Well, so this is
right. I'm looking at your guys' list.
We rank every toy that we talk about, and we've already gone through a whole list, and we put them through the gauntlet or through up against each other. And Turtles actually came out number 1 as the most enjoyed toy out of everybody that voted. And then we started over. And obviously Nintendo Entertainment Center is on this.
I didn't know Nintendo was on the table on this because, toy versus entertainment system, right? But let's cut out electronics and go with just toys. Ninja Turtles number 1, G.I. Joe number 2. Street Sharks number 3. I don't know why I liked them so much. But that was number 3.
All right. So Michael, where does this fall on with it for you?
Oh, let's put G.I. Joe is going to be. Oh man. They're right up there. They're right there with Thundercats. I don't know if I want to put them 4 or put them 5. I do remember playing more. I tell you what, we're gonna put G.I. Joe number 4, Thundercats 5. He'll move down.
I was gonna say if it does not G.I. Joe doesn't beat Glowworm, I'm gonna be pretty upset.
Okay, John, where do you got?
These are pretty cool toys. I wish we would have had more of them, especially some of the vehicles and everything. But I'm sorry, these are going to push down a lot of these. It's going to go number 2.
Oh, wow. See, John, I
think that's part of my military background and everything on top of it. But I mean,
you can't beat.
I would love to have more of these. For sure.
I think we have the same kind of thought on that, John. Obviously, I remember playing with a bunch. I had friends that had them. I know the few that we had, and I know the O-ring thing that Scott was talking about is an issue. These are going number 2 for me also, pushing down superpowers, slot cars, all those. I love playing with all that stuff, but these were a lot of fun because they were honestly like a little disposable. Like it didn't matter if you forgot to pick them up and Dad ran over them with the lawnmower. Like that just meant that you had more more
parts to leave around the battlefield.
More parts of it. So
and you would find those guns everywhere. Like I to this day still find not the parachute, but the backpack that the parachute came in for the parachuter gag was this was a big, huge plastic like clamshell case, right? That kind of opened up. That held the parachute. I still find that thing in my daughter's toys because at some point she raided mine and she liked that. And I'm like, that is from a G.I. Joe, but I don't know where any of the G.I. Joes are. But you can tell because it had that. They all had that hole in the back, and there was that weird little like cross peg that fit back in. That you would wedge in there. You're like, telltale sign you got a G.I. Joe.
All right, so I know it's been a little while, and we're going to jump back into talking some more about G.I. Joe here in a minute, maybe. Or a few minutes, but we do have a game to play. Let me kill this logo real quick. Everybody knows who they're looking at or watching. This game that I came up with comes right out from the knowing is half the battle. Okay. Basically, Scott, we're going to let you go first. You're going to pick a number. That number, when I click on it, it's going to bring up a name of a character. And then you get to tell me who deployed that character. Are they a Joe? Are they a Cobra? So basically, it's a 50-50 shot here of knowing whether it's Joe or Cobra.
Okay. All right. I thought I was going to do really bad at this, but a 50-50 shot, I think I might do okay.
I'm going to be honest and say that probably 90% of these are pretty easy. But there are a few that I was actually shocked to be like, oh, wow, okay. A little fun. Now, there is only one shot. There's no steals on this because once we deploy, you'll know who it is. Second, if you get it right, you get 2 points. If you get it wrong, you get negative. You're going to lose a point. So I am going to have to keep up with points here. I should probably bring this back out so I can look at it. Here we go. Michael, Scott, John. John, you were third. Sorry. Hey, that's what happens. All right. So Scott, if you give us a number.
Let's go in the middle. I want 16.
You want number 16 right off the bat. Snowstorm.
G.I. Joe.
Okay. I forgot to tell you guys, you have to buzz in.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was for me.
No,
no. Well, that was the other part. It's like we got to buzz in over in the private chat.
All right.
The first person that buzzes in. So we're gonna go, John. We're gonna start now. First person to buzz in. All right, still got John. John, what do you think? What do you think? Sorry.
Joe.
You think it's a Joe, and it is a Joe. John gets a point. Oh, John gets 2 points.
2 points.
All right, John, pick me another number.
Let's go 30.
Number 30.
Mace.
John. Also, Michael, why are you buzzing in over here on this other thing?
Buzzing in our chat.
My chat's not working over here.
You got to click on the private chat
Click on the private chat, not the comments.
in StreamYard. You know how to do this.
Hold on a minute.
John's still buzzed in on that one first because he buzzed in before. But we're going to wait a minute so that we can figure out what Michael's doing.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Do you don't know what you're doing, Michael?
No.
Have you found your chat yet?
I don't see chat.
Okay, so on the side over here.
Private chat. Maybe I found it. Okay, never mind. I found it.
There,
All right.
Now
we're
we're
good.
John.
There we go.
Mace is a Joe. And I promise you these are all they're randomized in here. So John, give me another number.
Based on the numbers, Joe is probably the way to go, to be honest with you. Like I said, there's a disproportionate number.
Let's go.
It's 50-50.
Let's go 2.
What number?
2.
Number 2, Ghost Rider. Scott.
Okay, I'm going on a limb here. I'm pretty sure that's a Cobra.
That is a Joe.
Oh.
No, I told you I'm going negative on this one.
That's a negative one. All right. John, you still had the last right answer. So give us another number.
25.
Number 25. I promise you. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Baroness Michael.
Fairness is she's the Cobra.
She is a Cobra. There you go. I told you there was some Cobras in here. And there are 16 Cobras and there are 16 Joes. Just so you know, it's half.
Well, after how many years that they ran 12 years, you should have at least 16 bad guys.
Right. So Michael, give me another number.
All right, let's do you say there's 36 total?
There's 32.
32.
You see the numbers?
I can't see. Okay, 32. We'll do the last one.
Number 32, Roadblock. John.
Oh.
Joe.
Roadblock is a Joe. John's killing you, Michael.
He is, yeah.
I mean, I'm glad to see that. John needs 4 points. John,
Let's
give me
go 20.
Number 20, Venomous Maximus. John. It's a
Let's go.
Sorry, I hit that too soon.
Dang.
You hit that too soon, but it was what I was saying.
John's killing this here. All right, give me another number, John.
14.
Number 14. I was waiting to see if somebody buzzed in before I actually clicked it. Major Blood. John.
I was going to say,
John.
Is he Cobra? Did I get that one wrong?
you better bring it up because I implicitly
You mentioned him.
mentioned.
That's why I was like, wait, he's Cobra. We talked about
I've
it.
been so slow to buzz in. I'm like, I know all these ones. I forget because there was 2 snow ones, and I forget which one was the good snow and the bat. They had the evil counter.
If
There
another
are
one
a
pops
few.
up with snow, you know it's Cobra.
Right.
Yeah.
There are a few that are a little tricky. That's why I was saying, All right, John, give me another number.
11.
Number 11. I was still waiting. Firefly. Michael.
Joe.
Firefly is
Cobra. Oh. Dang. Finally get one and I get it wrong.
That's right.
Man.
All
All right.
John, give me a number.
23.
23. John.
Oh.
Storm
Oh.
Shadow.
Oh.
Cobra.
No.
Is it Cobra?
Yeah. Cobra.
There's.
Jeez.
I'm just glad Scott hasn't given up yet. John, give me another
I'm not
number.
giving up. I'm just like, for whatever reason, I'm so slow to buzz in.
I'm surprised I've gotten so many, but
Mine's being slow too. I don't know what to do.
I keep hitting them like, yes, no.
18.
Number 18. John.
Jeez.
Joe.
Man.
He's a Joe. I just want to talk about the score real quick. It's 14 to 1 to -1.
Yep.
All right, John, give me a number.
13.
Number 13. Lucky number 13 is Skullbuster.
Buster.
Sorry, John. Cobra.
Hey.
I saw the 2. I didn't even buzz in on that one. I'm like, I'm not even going for it.
John, number?
1.
Number 1. John?
Joe.
Dang.
No.
John missed one. John missed one. All right. It is still your
Still your
board,
game.
John.
Still John's board, yeah.
Dang. Let's go 3.
Number 3. Sky Striker. Michael. Sky Striker.
Sky Striker. He's a Joe.
He's a Joe. Good job, Michael. Finally, somebody besides John gets to pick a number.
Okay, let's do 8.
Number 8. Lucky number 8 for Michael. Copperhead. John.
John is like killing it with buzzing in.
It is.
Cobra.
It's Cobra. John, did you get faster internet? Is that what you did?
I don't know.
I think mine got slower.
So there, by the time I can read the name, I was like buzzed in. Like, all right, I guess I'm going.
All right.
I'm
John,
trying, I promise.
give me a number. What number?
4.
4. Scott, are you watching?
I am watching. Yep.
All right, here we go. 4 is wild card. John.
Dang.
Joe.
It's a joke. All right, John. Here's the new part of the game. You have to guess what it is before we even click the number. No, sure. All right, give me a number.
24.
24. Wild Weasel. John.
Dang.
Joe.
Cobra.
Oh.
I like that. God, you're killing this game, John. Still your board.
17.
Number 17. Michael.
I did before you even hit the button. Dr. Mindbender. I'm going to say Cobra on him.
And it's a Cobra.
All right.
Good job. Now we actually have Michael has 5 points. Scott still has -1
I'm still
point.
-1. I got
John has 18.
I got one answer and I got it wrong.
Hey, Scott. As soon as he says a number, chime in.
I'm doing it now, damn it.
Because it's only half or half. I mean,
Michael, what number?
I'll do 29.
Number 29. Scott, you're already in. Scott.
Yep, I'm already in.
we already talked
That's
about
I this was one I don't recognize, but I'm going Cobra.
We talked about him. He's the one that looks like
Cobra.
That's what it looks like the snake.
Yeah, he's got the snake body.
He's the one I remember having. Yeah, we had that one.
Good job, Scott. So you have
I'm
control of the board with 1 point.
All right, I'm gonna go. Because it's all there. 31.
31. Michael. Ozone.
Joe.
He's a Joe.
All right.
Oh, my finger got slow.
Let's see. Let's do one you got there. Was it 19?
19. Stalker. Michael.
Joe.
Is a Joe.
He hadn't even clicked on it.
This is ridiculous.
That's what happens when you have a 50-50 shot.
Yeah,
I mean,
just guess.
yeah.
All right, let's do number 9.
Number 9 is Razor Claw. Michael.
Cobra.
Is a Cobra.
All right.
John, he's starting to catch up.
I know.
I'm not.
They're cheating. You're in it before you click it.
27.
Number 27 is Scarlet.
Oh!
John.
Oh, Joe.
Yeah, it's a Joe.
Scarlet is a Joe.
She's actually the first female Joe.
Yep.
All right. John, give me a number.
Oh, it's mine again. Yeah.
It is yours.
Let's just do 10.
Number 10, Wind Chill. Michael.
Joe.
Wind chill is a Joe. Good job. And you have control of the board.
Let's do 26.
Number 26, Baroness.
Oh, dang.
I got it.
I got it for free.
All right.
25 did not come up. 25 is actually the number that he pulled up, and it must have pulled up the wrong one. So Toll Booth.
Oh, I think that's a Joe.
Yes, Scott. So you think that's a Joe? He is a Joe.
All right.
So we can kill
I
it.
thought we already did Baroness, but
Yeah, I was just like, well, it came up with
yeah.
the answer already. So I was like, wait, that's weird.
Yeah, so that must have been what happened earlier. Those two numbers got mixed up.
right.
All right, Scott, you have control.
All right, let's just go 5.
Number 5, Armadillo. Michael.
Joe.
Armadillo is a Joe. And
Let's
yours.
see. Let's close out that bottom row. Was it 28?
28, Recondo. Michael.
Joe.
And Recondo is a Joe.
All right. Sweet.
John. So currently the score is 20 John, 17 Michael, and 3 Scott.
Catching up.
Catching up.
Catching up. All right, let's do.
Wait, new rule. All of Scott's are worth 10 points now. If he gets one
Yeah,
correct.
if I can get one in.
Yes.
All right.
So
Okay.
Michael,
Number 7.
number 7, Gristle. Scott.
Joe.
Gristle.
No.
Oh!
so is that negative 10?
Sure, why not? Let's go negative.
No.
Negative 7 for me.
No. We're just doing -1. -1. I'm going to be nice here. I'm trying to get you caught up, not losing majorly.
I told you I'm okay losing as long as I make a fool of myself.
You know, hey. All right.
All right.
Michael,
Let's do 5.
number 5. We already did Armadillo.
We did
That
do
must
5,
have-
didn't we?
Yeah, I must have double clicked that one.
Okay.
Because
No,
when
let's
you click,
do-
it goes green again. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do 6 then.
Number 6. Hold on. I got to get the new fresh. Here we go. Number 6. Lady Jane. John.
It's a joke.
Lady Jane is a Joe. And give me a number 12, 15, 21, 22. You said 12?
Yep.
Leatherneck. Michael.
Leatherneck is Joe.
Leatherneck is also an alligator, but he is a Joe.
Joe. Let's do 21.
Lieutenant Clay Moore. Scott.
Joe.
This is one of those confusing ones.
Yeah.
I actually put Lieutenant up there.
It's
Right?
actually specifically why I use that character because, yeah.
And usually they're named like after like military-ish sort of things, right? Like Leatherneck, like all that stuff. So I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
it's got to be Joe.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm
All
wrong.
Michael.
All right. Let's go ahead and do 15.
Number 15, Raptor. Michael.
Cobra.
Raptor
won
is
that one?
Cobra.
Was that me? Okay.
You did.
Can we talk about before we go into it? At some point you'll have to pull Raptor up though. The luchador with like looking guy with like the cape and no
Yes.
shirt. Like Raptor is utterly ridiculous.
All right. Before I pull up this last one, John has 22 points, Michael has 21 points, and Scott has 1 point.
1 point. I'm going to end in the positive. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's my goal. Is to
He's like,
stay
I'm going to
positive.
sit out.
Yeah. As long as I don't go negative, I feel like I've won in some small way.
This one is worth 50 points. Whoever gets it right wins, just flat out.
All right.
For Scott, I'm trying to help Scott win.
Try to get the guest to win. I'm not going to win.
So on the count of 3, 1, 3, Gallows. Scott.
Yeah. Okay, based on the name, I'm going to guess Cobra. Every time I guess Joe.
Cobra!
Yeah!
Oh.
Scott wins.
I win with pity points, baby. Yeah.
51.
51 points.
My internet slowed down there at the half
We
part
got-
of the game.
Me and John got smoked.
The other
Right.
important part of this game is John beat Michael. So John's going to get a point, and our guests are going to get a point. So, Michael, it's 7. You have 7 points for the year.
Yeah.
John has 5 points for the year, and guests have 4 points for the year. And I still have 1 point. So
You weren't going to get anything on that one.
I don't even remember how I beat you guys for that one game or whatever.
You stumped us on something.
I stumped you on something that was great. So
yeah.
All right, G.I. Joe Raptor, right?
Yeah. It's for just for the sake of the ridiculousness. I remember this one distinctly.
And you're talking about the alien looking ones. If you go to 94, they've got the Star Brigade, the Lunar Tix Empire, or whatever. So yeah,
and they had those ones, and I remember they had the Street Fighter GI Joes too at a certain point.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's Raptor. So we take a good look at him. So he's got the bird.
Yeah.
He's got his wings.
And it was like a cloth cape.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what they're thinking about on this one. This one, that's just ridiculous.
Because there was a Joe called Spirit.
Yeah.
That was like the Native American. They're like, we need a bad guy
Native
of the same Native American too.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the bad guy one.
Anything else we want to add about Joe before we wrap this up?
Okay, last one
All right.
I think is look up. It's from 94. Yeah, the Star Brigade. Look up Carcass. This is the one that I always remember. I had to pull up the name because I don't remember the Star Brigade ones, but I need to bring these up because people still think like military as GI Joe, but in the 90s they went off the rails like a little bit.
Yeah, I was looking at some of these characters. Yeah, some of these Star Brigade ones. They're just.
There's another great one that's Lobotomax.
Yeah. The one with the long. There's one with the long neck. It looks like a Star Wars figure.
Lobotomax.
What is this?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that guy there. Yeah.
And then look at the doll actually looks like compared to like the picture.
The picture's completely
different. Like what happened? Like I see why they're like we got to stop. We've run out of ideas.
Does his chest piece open up and?
He's got bendable monster arms.
Yeah, bendable monster arms. So they were like the wacky arms where you could like there was just a pipe, like a little piece of metal in there. You could bend the arms.
Mm.
There was a whole line that we talked about that had those. They went off the deep end. I'm glad they stopped.
Yeah.
Well,
for now, they just come back with a bunch of retro ones.
Right. All right. So John, where can people find us? Oh wait, no, we need to do shout outs first. Sorry. Obviously, okay, so we have you just listened to us here, but yesterday you hopefully watched our showcase, our collector showcase that we did with Geek Together. So shout out to Geek Together, the Average Nerd Podcast, the Dorksman, 3 Beers and a Mic, Scott, STS Guys, Nerdy Curious, Nerd Portraits, Movie Retakes, Totally Rad Movie Podcast, which I hear it's not dead. And
not dead yet.
We may get a little bit of a teaser here in just a minute. Secondary Heroes, the Figure Booth with Nate on it, Second Opinion, and then if you're looking for some positivity, go check out Sully over on Twitch. I got a new hat coming as soon as he ships them out. Hopefully, I'm getting that number 13 hat that he's going to send to me. So be sure you check all of those guys out. Part of the Nerd Unite Network. We're happy to be a part of it and everything. So Scott, where can people find you?
Yeah, it's super simple. Just go to basically anywhere and look for STS Guys. Except if you're on Facebook, it's the STS Guys because someone already claimed STS Guys before us, so we had to put the in there. But yeah, everywhere that you listen to podcasts, Twitch, YouTube, everywhere, STS Guys. You can hit us up stsguys.com. And just look, I see 2 of you guys are wearing the shirt. So look for that little skull logo or the new one with the skull with the headphones. There you go.
We need shirts with the new one.
I need shirts with the new ones too.
But Scott, but Larry will send them to us before he sends them to you.
Yeah, exactly. You guys will get them before I do. Jeremy has a mug that he's like, yeah, I'll get to you. He lives 3 minutes down the road and he still has yet to give me this mug. So, and then you can also check out Larry and I at the Totally Rad Movie Podcast. It's not dead yet. And that's just Totally Rad Pod. And I think next time we're going to be talking Big Lebowski. So that should be coming up next week.
Yes, sweet. I cannot wait for that one. I need to rewatch that movie. So this is a perfect time for me to rewatch it.
As of right now, time of filming, I don't know if you're coming back and watching this later, but as of time, it's on Netflix right now. So perfect time to watch it.
So awesome. So John, where can everybody find us?
All right, so toyrewindpodcast.com is our website. Email us at toyrewindpodcast@gmail.com. Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch is all Toy Rewind Pod. Facebook and YouTube, Toy Rewind Podcast. And of course, just like he said, just hopefully y'all have seen our collector showcase. You've seen some of our toy box showcases we've done. I know while I was on vacation, Michael did a couple and Andrew did one. Who knows? I jumped in right at the end when I realized they were on. I was on the beach. Or headed back from the beach. I was walking back.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
So there is one more thing that I want to just drop right here, right at the end for everybody who might be still listening. Hopefully this is episode 48, even though it says 47 up in the little thing for us that we're looking at. It's episode 48. We're 2 episodes away from our year and episode 50. We are going to do episode 50 live.
Ooh.
It's going to be a live episode with us. We're hoping, so you guys know in the next couple of weeks, you're going to be seeing the time, the date, what we're going to do. We're going to let you know what topic we're talking about. So check out our social medias. We are going to have some giveaways. We're giving away, there's going to be 3 giveaways, I can tell you right now. I'll show you guys these.
I love giveaways.
These are record sheets with our logos on them and our record covers. They really stink because they just got back in the printers. But we're going to give those away. Everybody that wins is going to have one of those. I've got some Batman stuff to give away. John's got some, he's got those right there, those sodas to give away. Michael's probably got some Hot Wheels to give away, some stuff like that. We're going to do these 3 awesome giveaways, and it's all going to be live. So you're going to be able to enter right there on the thing. So be sure you're following our socials.
And speeder.
Yeah. Be sure you're following our socials. You get all that details. We're going to be trying to get the STS guys to talk about it, the Geek Together, everybody. We're going to try to get everybody to talk about it in the next couple of weeks.
You know, we love to talk, so just send us the details and we'll talk it up.
I just got to send
we don't shut up.
Right. So be sure you're checking those out. You come back because that's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to getting past 50. We got a lot more stuff to talk about. I know we've done 50 great toy lines, but there's hundreds more that we haven't touched that we're going to be getting into. So, yeah.
And there's some not so great ones too we'll touch too.
I'm surprised that these G.I. Joes got this long into the game.
We've been spreading them out. We're spreading
the good stuff.
We're going to keep the good ones out. Yeah.
Plus, every once in a while, we like to throw one in to see if Larry actually has it. The one random thing that we can be like, hey, and then he'll pull it out of his garage. So, all right. Well, this is us, episode 50. The Brothers Newland with Scott from the STS Guys. Hope you guys enjoyed our talk about G.I. Joe, the 3 3/4 inch line. And with that, everybody, play on.
You've been listening to the Toy Rewind Podcast. Follow and join in the conversations at toyrewindpodcast.com.